Angel Band. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a beautiful day in Montgomery, Alabama. It's a Saturday. I'm off from work today. I'm having a good time. And today, I want to talk to you about my memoir, which is coming out May 1st. It's called Memoirs of a Mad Redneck. And the whole idea behind starting the Patreon and the Facebook page was to lead up to publishing a memoir. And it's coming out on Guillotine Press on May 1st, 2019, and the proceeds are going to go to benefit both Guillotine Press and the Cooperative New School for Urban Studies and Environmental Justice. And the book is really kind of an anti-fascist thesis, but it's anti-fascist in a completely different way than what we think of. You know, the target for fascists in recruiting is rednecks, the white working class, because rednecks are disaffected. They're oppressed by class, and they believe that the cause of that oppression is women and people of color. And I understand why they feel that way, because in a capitalist system, when one group does better, somebody else has to do worse. And I'm not saying that it's not a white supremacist society. It is. I'm not saying that it's not a patriarchal society. It is. But the fact is that women and people of color are doing better, and good for them. They fought for it, and they've won many of those battles, and they've won a seat at the table, and good for them. But the problem in capitalism is that there are only so many seats at the table, and if somebody's getting a seat at the table, somebody else is not. And I understand where the appeal of white nationalism comes from to rednecks. I do. And I have empathy for them, and I want to show them a different way. I want to show them my experiences as a redneck, as a white working class Southerner, as a person who is an auto mechanic who struggled on the shop floor, but also that a redneck can go get a PhD from a liberal institution like Berkeley, and that a redneck can work with Black Lives Matter, a redneck can work in the cooperative movement, a redneck can be an anti-racist, and a redneck can also fight for themselves and do all of these things at the same time. And you know, one of the things that happened to me when I was in grad school was, when I first got into grad school, my mentor, Carolyn Finney, put me up for a diversity scholarship. And people laughed at her because I was a white man, and class doesn't count for diversity. And that's one of the things that I tackle in my book, is reckoning with how I'm viewed because of my class position. And hopefully I can show a way to reckon with that that's more constructive than white nationalism. You know, there were many doors closed to me because of my class position, and it wasn't recognized that class is a valuable contributor to the diversity conversation. And it's because, in spite of all of the diversity conversation that's happening in this country right now, capitalism is going basically unchallenged. And class has to be part of that conversation. And one of the things that I say in my book, one of my favorite books is Vanity Fair, and by William Makepeace Thackeray. And that book is talking about women, but it's talking about how people can never escape who society says they are. And I found that to be very true in my life, that once, you know, you can take the redneck out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the redneck. And, you know, I found that there have been many doors closed to me because I am a redneck, and not just because of my class position, but because of the culture that I believe represents redneck culture, that doesn't include the Confederate flag, but does include frankness, honesty, being forthright, truthfulness, and doing what's right in spite of the consequences. And I feel like that culture has been excluded from many of the conversations about diversity and about the future of our country. And I think it's really important for us to reckon with this. What does class mean? Because fascists are winning many of those conversations, because they're offering an option to rednecks besides, you know, oppression, or a way to fight oppression. And, you know, we tell rednecks you're racist and to be different, but we don't give them the option of we don't tell them what that different looks like in a way that's true to themselves. In this book, I'm true to myself. I talk about my feelings, my mistakes, my victories, my insights, but I never could escape being a redneck. And as much as I tried to escape being a redneck, and I could never escape it. And finally, I've embraced it. I've gotten out of academia and I'm back on the shop floor, working as an auto technician, which is what I was doing 20 years ago before I started all this mess. And I want it to be anti-fascism in a positive sense, in the sense that I want to show that there's a different path for rednecks who feel shit on by the system than to turn to white nationalism, Nazism, and fascism, and that there is a separate path, a separate subjectivity, a separate identity that, you know, maybe my book can show how that can happen, the possible way forward. Because I don't think that most rednecks really want to be racist, but I believe it's appealing to tell rednecks the story that because black people are doing better, or because women are doing better, that you're doing worse. And there's some truth to that story, because we live in a capitalist system. And you know, that's not the whole story, but that's the story that fascists are telling, and it's appealing. And we have to counter that with a different story, and that's what my book is. My book is a different story. And I hope that you read it. I hope that you get out of it some insight into the struggles of rednecks, aka white working class Southerners. And I hope you are inspired by the fact that, you know, my mentor Carolyn Finney says that you should always do things that are authentic. And what she means by authentic is that it breaks the mold. And I hope that this book is an authentic book that breaks the mold of what a redneck is and could be. I'm Zach Henson. It is April 6th, 2019, and thank you for watching Confessions of a Mad Redneck. And when the book comes out on May 1st, go out and buy the book. Thanks. Guillotine Press.